Paul McGuire Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Paul, I'm really excited to talk to you today. I really enjoyed this movie. Fantastic work with kind of making a Western, a Civil War movie feel contemporary and present for today.
Oh, thanks. That's very kind. I mean, that's what drew me to the story, in truth. You know, when I read the book, this character, the newsreader, who wanders from small town to small town, and all he has is some newspapers, and he goes into an old barn or a dusty town square. And what he does is he tells stories. He tells stories about the local news. He tells stories about the federal news, which can be quite contentious. He tells stories about things that happen far, far away. And what he's doing really is, at a time of deep division, the healing power of storytelling starts to knit community together with community. And that made it feel very, very contemporary to me, because that's where we are today. You know, the world is very bitterly divided. And when he meets, this lonely newsreader meets the little girl, the mysterious little girl, Johanna, and they go off on this odyssey through the Texas landscape. And of course, it's dangerous and exciting, and it's an adventure. But ultimately, what it is a journey to try and find out where they both belong. And that also made it feel very contemporary. You know, it's the healing power of stories.
Right.
And I loved it for that reason.
I mean, I think it just shows, you know, again, that history repeats itself, and how do we continue to learn from history and grow from history, and that it isn't just something of the past. Now, this is your second time working with Tom Hanks, who is one of my idols. What is it about him? What does he bring to set for you that makes him such a strong collaborator?
Well, he's just a fantastically good actor. You know, he has just a humanity about him. In terms of his performances, I mean, he can. As soon as he came on set in that dark, you know, that storytelling suit, that black, he was Kid. I never doubted it for a second, you know. And his ability to convey character with just a tiny change of the expression, it's a remarkable gift. He's one of the greatest actors in the history of movies. In my view, and I think in many people's views, and I think it's easy in a way. I would say this, and I believe this actually, it's easy to take Tom Hanks for granted because he's always so good. But we're living, all of us, with this gift that he's giving us in movie after movie after movie. Like all of us, he won't be there forever. Enjoy it while you can. And this, my view, is one of, you know, it's up there with his finest work. I really believe that.
Oh, completely. I feel like every movie he somehow gets better and better, and he's in like this prime part of his career right now, which you didn't think could be possible.
It speaks to where America is. We're all searching for healing. We're searching for it in my country and in yours. And this story of this lonely newsreader trying to find his way home, trying to take this little girl home, speaks to where we are today in a really powerful, you know, exciting, but ultimately optimistic way, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he says in the movie, something to take us away from the troubles of the times. So what have you been either watching or turning to for your own comfort and solace during these times?
Well, I've been watching a lot of Tom Hanks, obviously, movies, so that's the straight up answer. I'm very lucky. I don't live in a city. I live out in the countryside, so my solace really is walking in the woods with my dog. And, you know, somewhere in the midst of all this tragedy of COVID, one of the things it's done, and I think a lot of people feel that, it's brought us a little closer. It certainly brought me closer to nature. You know, you appreciate the trees and the woods and the, you know, the rivers and the springs and the hidden corners in a way that maybe you took for granted before all this started. So that would be my answer.
Well, it's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much for the talk today. I appreciate it. I'm hoping people really get a lot out of this movie and they see it outside of just a Western or, a Civil War picture.
I hope so.
Thank you, Paul. Helena, it is so great talking to you today. I really enjoyed this movie and you give a fantastic performance in it. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got to learn the Kiowa language and culture for this character. Can you talk a little bit about what that training was like? And was it hard to learn a new language?
Well, I started learning it about 3 weeks before the movie started. I had everyday lesson from 1.5 hour, and it was also very important for me to learn that culture and to understand their way of thinking, like in a circle than in a straight line than we do, and also to respect that because they have different meanings and different thinkings than we have, and also it was really interesting for me to know how they grew up because some were actually Indians and Native Americans who grew up like you would think of it, sitting on the fireplace and singing around and riding with horses every day, not going to school and sleeping in teepees and everything. So that was kind of cool to learn and to hear from the Native Americans.
Yeah, I love hearing that. That's so great. I think anytime we learn a new language or a new culture, it just enriches us so much more when we do that. Now, this is your first American film, and your co-star just happens to be one of the greatest actors of all time, Tom Hanks. Yeah. Is he just as remarkable and kind as he appears on screen? And what did you take away from this experience?
Yeah, he's really great. He's really kind, and just as you notice him and just as you know him from movies and background movies, yeah, he's really great. He's kind. He stays calm and kind and always, and it doesn't matter how often you have to do a scene. He is there, and also he sure always says his trick to be famous and an actress or an actor is to show up on time, know your lines, and also be kind and nice to everybody, which is kind of the trick to get into that business world.
Some valuable life lessons for sure about being on time and being present. Now, what kind of movies or characters do you want to take on with some of the next movies you want to do?
Well, I think strong stories about strong women and feminists, and also who are maybe having some troubles in their background story, but now growing up and learning from themselves and with their characters, and sure not to forget a horse movie.
God, you're going to have such an amazing career. I can already tell. And the kinds of characters you're interested in playing are no easy feats for sure. There's a line in the movie, I think Tom says it, where he says something to take away from the troubles of the times. What are some of the hobbies, the movies, the TV shows that you turn to when you just need to cheer up after a bad day?
Well, I have lots of hobbies like playing the piano. I also like doing sport with my mom and hearing music, or as I said, playing the piano, doing music. And for sure, I own a horse with my mom. Her name is Hekla, and she's now 11 years old. And we're very often at the barn, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Well, thank you so much. It was really great talking to you today. Congrats on this movie. I think you will have a great career ahead of yourself because you're so vulnerable and aggressive and awesome in this. So thank you.